What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. Joshua, I'm going to let you go first. Trade deadline, Roquan Smith, Baltimore Ravens. What are your thoughts right now, man?
I mean, honestly, man, I was not expecting the Roquan Smith trade. I mean, I will say, Eric DeCosta may have it's arguably, he hasn't been the best at drafting, but when it comes to those mid-season type of trades, those trades that can help put us in another position, maybe put us in the second season, which is the playoffs, it definitely helps us out. I mean, this is pretty much up there with the Marcus Peters trade a couple years back. And once we brought in Marcus Peters, the defense changed. There was a whole nother type of energy. So with a Roquan Smith, two-time Pro Bowler, 25 years old, I know we haven't seen him out there on the field yet, but I think we might have the replicas of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed all over again with Roquan Smith and Marcus Williams. I know it's too soon. I know it's been a while since we've seen Marcus Williams. I miss him just like everybody else. But you're talking about a rangy safety, and you're talking about the leading tackler. Did he lead in tackles the past 2 years?
Almost. He is leading the NFL in tackles right now, and I don't know if he ever led the league in tackles for a full season, but he has been an All-Pro.
And he is the prototypical middle linebacker that we are used to having command our defense. So this if he shows he could be the middle linebacker we need, it will not only help out Mike McDonald's coaching career as defensive coordinator, but also it will help us push Chuck Clark out the door as well in the upcoming offseason.
Yeah, this move is great. And I know a lot of people are concerned, what if we don't re-sign him? Comp pick. That's huge. Roquan Smith he's probably going to be an All-Pro this year, or at least a Pro Bowler. Ravens could get a third-round pick for him in terms of comp picks. Remember when we traded for Yannick Ngakoue, and it was like, oh yeah, if we don't get him, we'll get a comp pick. And things like that. So the Ravens they're getting a great player, and I have no problems with his play on the field. The best part about it is he's been out there for every defensive snap with the Chicago Bears this season.
Right.
Last year, he was out there for every snap except for 2. He is someone that plays every down. He is someone that can do everything on the football field, and that's the comparison to Ray Lewis, right? Ray Lewis could blitz the quarterback and get you sacks. He could plug a hole, stop the run, get a TFL. He can go out there and he could cover a tight end. Now, he wasn't going out there and just clamping guys like a number one corner, but he was a very competent coverage linebacker, and he could get you interceptions when the play was there to be made. He wasn't mossing people, but it was like the ball's in the air, he's going to catch it. Roquan Smith, 2 interceptions this year, 2.5 sacks. He's had an interception, at least 1 interception, and at least 1 sack every year of his career. He's actually the only person in the last 30 years, I believe, with multiple interceptions and multiple sacks in his first 4 years in his NFL career. And I want to say it's like 100 tackles, or there's some stat with tackles, or I think it's TFLs, interceptions, and sacks.
Uh-huh.
And him and Ray Lewis are the only linebackers in the last 30 years to do it in their first few years.
Well, damn. Okay.
Which, that's a good guy to be compared to, especially in Baltimore. But he's so big as not just a football player, but as a leader. He's a captain for the Chicago Bears. And this is something where the Ravens defense, they need that. We've been asking Joshua, who's going to be that next leader? Yeah. Because right now I feel like it's Calais. Yeah. Because, he's the hype man. Calais is an old dude. He doesn't have much longer left.
Between him and Justin and maybe even Jay Tuck. No, excuse me. I keep on saying
JPP.
Yeah, JPP. Those 3 guys are those 3 guys right there is going to be their last year. So you definitely need some young gunners that is going to be, those leaders, especially with this core that we have. And building that core with a Marcus Williams and a Roquan Smith and a Marlon Humphrey, I think I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take that.
Yeah, and having a guy at the middle linebacker spot, one, plays every snap. Could him in the green dot could eventually go to him. Maybe not this year, maybe next year.
Yeah.
He has to learn that defense and things like that. But he's going to help out this front seven so much. This front seven in 1 week, in the span of 1 week, went from a bottom 10 front seven to a top 5 front seven. Not just because of Roquan Smith, because we're also getting Tyus Bowser and David Ojabo. They've also been activated. So, if you guys have ever watched Justice League, there's a Justice League movie where Batman walks up to Darkseid and says the Hellspores have been activated.
You seen that one?
Top tier. One of the best Batman scenes of all time. They've been activated. That's the Ravens defense right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get back Marcus Williams, and this defense has been playing really good football. That's what's funny is it's like we're making improvements to this defense, and they've played very well. And so we got some tough teams that we have to go up against. I hate the schedule because it seems so misleading. Oh, the Ravens don't play any teams with a winning record for the rest of the year. And it's like, okay,
they still play. That's the thing about it. They still play.
The Browns don't have Deshaun Watson right now. The Steelers don't have TJ Watt. The Bengals, they're struggling because they don't have Jamar Chase. We're going to be playing these guys. They're going to be a lot better than it seems that they will be. And the Broncos are a tough win. No matter how good you are, their defense is very feisty. So this trade, it just helps out. And the other thing, Joshua, we've been talking about this for a while. Patrick Queen never got to have a guy that he could learn from. It was like we drafted him inexperienced, super young, and we were like, hey, you're going to be our only young linebacker. We'll get you another rookie in like the 3rd round, and he can help you out. But yeah, we're going to put all our faith for our defense in you. That's tough for a young guy.
Now, we're bringing in Roquan. Do you think this might be another Ray Lewis and Bart Scott type of tandem?
I think it could be a Ray Lewis, Bart Scott. It could be a CJ Mosley,
and
Patrick Onwaso.
Oh,
like that type of duo where, you have two guys where it's like both of them are good. Because Patrick, when we've talked about it, he's good in the Will spot.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't really have a good Mike. Now we do. Now we got our guy. Patrick Queen's not the one on the tight ends anymore. Both of them can blitz very well. Both of them are athletic. They've got range. Roquan Smith ran a 4.51 40-yard dash. I want to say it is. He's big and he's a ferocious tackler. And again, he's a leader. So it's just like this is huge for the Ravens in terms of building momentum because he can help make those plays and he can help be an enforcer for this defense. And I'm just so excited to watch them play. And the best part is we get one game on Monday night and then we get a bye week. So like he gets a lot of time to really get adjusted to the system. It's not like we're getting him. We play on Thursday night football. Then we play the Buffalo Bills the next week and we're like completely screwed because we are just throwing him in tough spots. He's going to have time to learn. He was a top 10 pick. He was unbelievable coming out of Georgia. I remember wanting him out of Georgia. Then he went really early, and I was like, darn, we cannot get him anymore. So this defense is going to be huge. And Ravens' identity, Joshua, we saw it in the run game last week. Now we're seeing it in the defense. They are taking steps to being those dogs, those fight for every inch, fight for every ball, fight for every down type of defense that we want to see. And we've got playmakers, and we're getting better. It's the opposite of last season. Last season, every week we went in with one less player than we had the week before. And this year, we're going in and it's like, oh yeah, we're getting this guy too. Yeah. Last week we went out there and it was like, oh yeah, we're getting JPP in his second game for the Ravens. We're getting Justin Houston back. Now we're getting Tyus Bowser. We're getting David Ojabo. We're getting Roquan Smith. We're getting all of these guys just returning to play. And they just keep on coming. Eventually, we're going to get Marcus Williams back. And this defense is going to be physical. And they're going to try and impose their will. And that's just like the Ravens mentality, I think, is really going to go back to that 2000 Ravens. You can even say that, the 2012 Ravens of, hey, we are better than you, and we're going to be more physical than everybody else.
I mean, honestly, I feel like that's the best way to go. I mean, No, it hasn't been put out there yet, but it looks like Rashad Bateman will probably possibly be on the IR. On the IR, I mean, the thing with that, if he is on IR, maybe we can get him by the time the end of the season or even playoffs. If he heals up and be 100%. But I hope he takes his time and get back stronger. But the thing about it, 2000 and 2012, we didn't have the best of offenses, but we had a stout defense. That front seven, I mean, look at it. We got Calais Campbell, Justin Metabike, and Broderick Washington, and even Travis Jones. They're all stepping into their own, and especially Broderick Washington, who was maybe one of the most underrated player in that front seven. Yeah, I'm going ahead and say it. TTV family, Ravens flock, y'all can go ahead and attack me all you want. But Broderick Washington has been making gains. Every game he's been making gains. I mean, and then you have Adafio Way. I mean, yes, between me calling him Jason and sometimes, calling him his God-given name, Adafi, he sometimes works my nerves. He has his days. But honestly, we all know that he is a number 2 defensive end. But like you have said, help is on the way. With the Tyus Browns coming back in at the outside linebacker, being able to drop in coverage, being able to possibly get those interceptions where, Adafi, doesn't have the ball skills. Last year felt like Thanos snapping his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet. This year, it feels like the portal scenes in Endgame. Yeah, man. We finally, when was the Captain America that was finally getting beat down, and when he heard Sam finally come in, he said, who's that? Who's that? He's like, hey, check when you're right, Cap. So help is on the way. That's exactly what's going on. So I mean, it's definitely a good thing to be a Ravens fan right now. I know we are 5-3. It's a nasty 5-3. It's not been a convincing 5-3, but I mean, this is Ravens football. There's always got to be some type of drama in the mix. So I mean, the only thing about the drama is you have maybe arguably had the best QB and the best middle linebacker on the same team that doesn't have agents, and both of them are in contract talks after the season is over. I know everybody's, focused on the win now, play now, and everything like that. But March is going to be interesting as hell. Who is going to get franchise tag and who is going to get that contract extension? I'm looking forward to seeing how those negotiations go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really funny to try and watch. And I did see something that I thought was hilarious. I'm going to show you guys this really quickly because this was too funny not to show. People may get a little bit upset, but I saw this and I thought it was like one of the funniest memes I've ever seen in terms of the Ravens. And someone said that this is how Lamar and Roquan Smith are going to be looking for their contracts. Negotiating with Eric DaCosta. We can say this is Lacey DaCosta playing Pam in this one. I thought that was too funny. I got no problem with them not having an agent. Shout out to them, doing the negotiations on themselves. But that gave me a really good laugh with that classic scene from Step Brothers. But in looking at this defense, looking at this roster, I know a lot of people are questioning why didn't we get a wide receiver? And I think that's what a lot of people are concerned about. I'm going to say this personally. The reason why we don't get a wide receiver, even with the Bateman injury, news, we don't use them. If we ran a different offense, the Ravens would go into this and be like, wow, we really need a wideout. We will be aggressive. Now, I don't think we'd be stupid enough to send a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. Shout out to the Chicago Bears. That was maybe the worst trade I've ever seen in my entire life. And yes, I think it's worse than the DeAndre Hopkins trade for the Texans. Like, it's bad. That was a bad trade that they made. But we don't use wide receivers. And we've seen Demarcus Robinson play very well. Last week we saw Devin Duvernay. He's been able to make plays. But Isaiah Likely, I think, stepping up. And we got Deshaun Jackson and Andy Isabella. I know that, a receiver would make this team better. I'm not gonna lie and say it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But we have other areas that we could fix, and we did that. We figured out, hey, let's fix this defense up. And how do we do that? What's the weakest part is our linebacker core, our front seven, and being able to get those sure tackles. being able to make those extra plays, those dropped picks, those I don't I said I'm done with the Patrick Queen slander, but there were some plays this year where Patrick Queen saw on his face mask and receivers are running right behind him. Shout out to Jalen Waddle. Plays like that, we need to get rid of them. So we did. We got that linebacker. Joshua, are you upset? Are you disappointed that we didn't go out and get ourselves I know Brandon Cooks was on the market, a DJ Moore, a Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore. I know you liked Terrace Marshall. Are you upset that we didn't go out and grab any of those guys?
I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say a 4. At the end of the day, like I said, the Roquan Smith was definitely a surprise, but I had to understand the bigger picture. We're trying to get back to our roots of being a defensive team, a strong defensive team. And on top of that, like you said, middle linebacker is where we've been ailing at. They made the push for Bobby Wagner. So it's like, they were still looking to, still add on to this defense, and they did exactly that. And you got a Pro Bowler, a 2-time Pro Bowler, a young man. A matter of fact, let's take it another step. They went ahead and got another prime type of player that's not on the back end of his career. He's just getting started in his career, which is a blessing that they went ahead and did that. Which is a surprising to me that they first did that with Marcus Williams. Now you're doing it with Roquan Smith. God damn. EDC and Ozzie Newsome. I don't care about Jonathan and Gregory, but it's like, I see what y'all doing here. So you know what? They obviously say, listen, we got Lamar Jackson. He's the Houdini magician. He's still the X factor in the offense. And Gus Edwards coming back. Eventually we'll get JK, but I mean, Kenyon Drake is on his Devontae Freeman type of energy. He's coming alive in the later part of the season. That's what Devontae Freeman did and helped out the run game, and that's what Kenyon Drake is doing right now, helping us out, running hard, and is getting that time where you run the ball more. So I mean, you love to see it. So I'm not mad. I'm not as mad. I do wish we could have maybe gave a little push towards Elijah Moore, maybe the Terrace Marshall Jr. I know DJ Moore on the back end, as far as the money, it probably would have been an issue, but at the same time, what we're learning is cap is cap. So that being said, not really mad. I'm glad that our defense is coming back strong and healthy, and adding a middle linebacker like Roquan Smith, and that possibly going to give us Ray Lewis type of energy or type of vibes. It's exciting to see coming Monday night against the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm looking at this roster, another thing to think about is we have John Harbaugh as our coach. And I've been critical of John Harbaugh because he hasn't fired Greg Roman. But the thing John Harbaugh is good at, right, is culture and building up a culture. And every time John Harbaugh has had a good team, there's always been a very strong sense of culture, right? You can look at Ray Lewis, back when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, that was the leader. And then the Ravens struggled after Ray Lewis left because we didn't really have that guy. Now, Terrell Suggs, he worked on, he wasn't terrible, but he's not Ray. Yeah. Nobody's Ray. But then, we really struggled. Ever since Ray Lewis retired, we struggled until 2019. And then who did we get in 2019 that brought in new culture? Running back named Mark Ingram comes in, and all of a sudden it was like, yo, you could feel it. You could feel it in the Ravens locker room, in the press conferences. Hey, this is a different team. This is a different attitude. This is a different mentality. They're going to be able to do it.
You need that.
Roquan Smith could become the guy, as a multiple-time team captain, as a known leader in the Bears organization, as a player that was willing to. I mean, he broke down in tears when Robert Quinn got traded. Robert Quinn, his good friend, his front seven teammate, he was visibly upset. And someone that puts that much emotion into a game is someone that you want to listen to. You want to take advice from. He was frustrated with the Bears organization. Yeah, it was because they weren't paying him his contract, but it's also like, we're not even trying to win. Like, I want to go out there and I want to try and win. I'm from the SEC. I went to the University of Georgia. Like, let's do this. Mm-hmm. He could come into this team and he could take it over from a personality, from a, overall emotional standpoint, because we have Calais, and I think Calais is good as a leader. I don't have any problems with him, but adding in another leader the more leaders that you have in such a young team, because it's like we don't have any like middle-aged players like Roquan. Like we got Marlon, we have Roquan, we have Tyus.
Yeah.
Marcus Peters is kind of aging out, and then all the front seven is basically super young or aging out. So it's like, hey, let's get Patrick Queen someone to listen to. Let's get all of these young assets that we are trying to build around, to listen to these leaders. It's going to be so interesting to watch them over the next few weeks, really try and figure out how exactly he's going to fit into that mix, because so many teams understand the value of middle linebacker. Fred Warner got drafted to the Niners, took over that defense as a leader, and they just, boom, they were great, because he was able to step in and be that leader, take over that, that green dot and just, command them. We saw it with the Ravens defense when we finally got CJ Mosley. It was like, whoa. I think we can do it for Roquan Smith. And shout out to Don C in the chat. Shout out to Don C. I know he's hyped about this. Shout out to Don C.
What up, baby? Gotta be, man. Gotta be. Now, after the Roquan Smith trade, would you have suggested any more other type of moves?
Honestly, no. I mean, when after that move, I was like, okay, I don't think we're going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just like, is it worthwhile? Does it make any sense? I feel like the Ravens are better off saving their draft picks and drafting this next year, because I don't think a wide receiver, for the value that wide receivers got, now I would have traded, a 5th round pick for I think I said I would trade a 6th round pick for Chase Claypool. But Steelers weren't taking that. Packers apparently offered a 2nd. The Bears got him for a 2nd. We didn't really see much wide receivers get moved. And so it's like, okay, we could have gone after a guy, and it would have ended up being more disappointing than if we hadn't got him, because we would have sent over a 4th round pick and gotten somebody where it's like, a DeMarcus Robinson caliber player, where it's like, okay, he'll play, but they're not going to change this team, and we're losing out on a 4th round pick. And we know how impactful 4th round picks can be their rookie year. Look at Jordan Stout. Look at Pepe Williams. Yep. Look at Isaiah Likely. I mean, we got 4th rounders. They're playing. So for me, like, just losing the 2nd rounder, it was a 2nd and a 5th for Roquan. I don't want to lose any more picks for someone that won't be able to be as dominant as him.
I think the only person I probably would have reached out to is my dark horse. He got drafted by Kansas City. Yeah, I would have called. I think I would have called him. I think I would have seen if I could have made a call for Josh Williams.
Josh Williams.
Yeah, because I wouldn't go for Jacoby Durant. Jacoby Durant is actually doing pretty decent out there in LA, and he's playing nickel. So it means like, we got Pepe. You feel me? Pepe is really holding it down. He's a striker. He's a dog. But if we're not going to go get Marcus Peters, if we're not going to give Marcus Peters a 2-3 year contract extension after the year is over, I think I would have made the move for Joshua Williams. Yeah.
I think William Jackson, I would have liked him.
Did he get cut?
No, he ended up going to the Steelers. He was going to get cut if he wasn't traded for, and I think the Steelers, they may have swapped a 6th and a 7th and gotten William Jackson. It was like very late round picks. He was somewhere where I was like, okay, if he gets cut, let's go after him. Yeah. But again, we got to remember, guys get cut after the trade deadline all the time. We may be able to pick someone up there. Maybe it's a wide receiver. Maybe it's a cornerback or something like that, where it's like, okay, they don't really need him. They wanted to offload him. They couldn't. Right. We may be able to claim someone off waivers in the next few days that maybe we didn't want to trade draft capital for. There could be some good players.
No, absolutely. And then, like I said, man, if we want to make it to the Super Bowl or, make a real deep push in the second season, which is the playoffs, I definitely would say build our defense to the point where they can help us out, hold opposing teams' offenses, and create and generate some energy and get us those touchdowns if need to be.
I just can't wait to watch to watch this team go from offense to defense because I'm excited to watch this defense. I've been excited to watch this defense. It's something that I actually look forward to. Oh, the Ravens offense got stopped. Let's see what the defense can do.
Right. I mean, think about all the running backs we playing against next Monday night. We got Alvin. We play against Alvin Kamara. The Panthers. Was that Chuba Hubbard?
They got Hillard and Hubbard, I believe, are their 2 running backs.
Jaguars. They got Travis. Travis finally playing. You know,
and he's so good. Remember we talked about oh man, we would love Travis. Yeah. I think I said I'd rather have Travis over Najee, and I think I still stand with that.
Ooh, you know what? I'll give you that. I take. You know what? I take a step further. I'll take Williams over Najee out of UNC.
Javonte?
Yeah.
I'd probably do that. Yeah. How you doing, Vince? How you doing?
No.
I wish we had Kyle Fuller still. That defense would be really good with Kyle Fuller.
Bro. That hurt my soul, my guy. Too early for the Baltimore native.
Yeah, it's just like this team. Again, we talk about it all the time. Momentum is so big with the Ravens organization and culture. This team has that, I feel like, and they have an identity. And that's one of the things that few teams in the NFL have is an identity. I don't think the Bengals have an identity. I think that's one of their biggest problems. Now, in the playoffs, that Joe Burrow can get hot and Jamar Chase can get hot and they can cook. But when it comes down to it, it feels like they go into games without a game plan, and then they just hope Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can pull something out of their butt. We saw that in Monday Night Football.
I was about to say they tried to do that last night. It definitely didn't work.
And they tried. I mean, their losses are to Cooper Rush, Jacoby Brissett, Mitch Trubisky, Mariota, or it's like they haven't lost, they haven't beaten all of their losses are to bad quarterbacks. They're yet to lose to a competent quarterback, in the NFL. Not to disrespect them too heavily, but it's come on, when you have a guy imagine if Lamar lost to a player on the caliber of Cooper Rush, right? Lamar lost to a backup quarterback. It's over for him.
We want to hit the end of it. We want to hit the end of it. Let us go to Carolina and play down to Carolina's level, and let Lamar Jackson lose to PJ Walker. All hell's gonna break loose. And DJ Moore put up 3 touchdowns with PJ.
We're gonna see what they do, and and the one starting quarterback they played was Lamar. And they got destroyed by Lamar. They couldn't win. So it's just and we're facing, I believe, Andy Dalton. Taysom Hill does not really play quarterback very much. I believe Jameis is healthy, so he'll be the backup. He comes in every once in a while.
It's gonna be all 3 of them, honestly.
Yeah, he's like that. What's his name? Big Spice or Spice Adams. Quarterback, running back, tight end, fullback, offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, cornerback, punter.
Taysom Hill got a job. Some NFL team need to reach out to destroy him at this point, because destroying can do the same damn thing Taysom Hill does.
Yeah, and watching this team and what I really can't wait to see Roquan out on the field, because that's when it's going to be like the last time we made a big midseason trade was Marcus Peters. I don't know if I'll have a Marcus Peters level debut. That was pretty darn fantastic. Going out there getting a pick 6 on Russell Wilson. But if he could get a sack, on Andy Dalton, if he could go out there and get a pick, if he could go out there and make a forced fumble or something like that. Kamara has fumbled the ball a lot this year. From what I've seen, I feel like every time I watch the Saints, he's fumbling. If he could go out there and make a play, it's just like one more player. He's one more guy that can make a play, which is now it's almost everybody on the defense outside of Chuck Clark. If we being honest, every single one of them can make a play except for Chuck Clark, which is kind of sad. But Chuck Clark, I'm sorry, he dropped a pick in the end zone last week. That was right to him. So
try to hurt our rookie. I don't forget.
Yeah. Not only that, he also injured our rookie.
Right, cool. Try to take away from my boy playtime. We ain't having that, man. Man, I mean, when you look at the rest of the season, man, and then just think about the added piece and think about the pieces we're getting back, it's like you want to get excited, but sometimes you gotta stay realistic. Like we can really run the table. Like the only team I would accept a loss from is the Denver Broncos.
I'd accept a loss to the Steelers. Lamar, like the Steelers, TJ Watt plays against Lamar Jackson so freaking well, and it's so frustrating because like TJ Watt just goes out there and it's just like 3 sacks. It feels like every time he plays the Ravens.
I respect that because you know what, Shaq Barrett really had our number.
Yeah,
I feel like if Shaq stayed in the game, it would have continued to been a rough night. So TJ Watt definitely has the IQ, but that still is offense, man. They don't have an identity. They don't know what they're doing.
Miguel, you're right. I didn't even think about a potential revenge game for him. That sucks. That does suck. Dang. I didn't even think about that. Who the heck is knocking on my this is ringing the doorbell at my house? Adi, this is a good question. What's Charlie Kohler's role when he's activated?
Honestly, I think that really depends on Mark Andrews, where Mark Andrews is with that shoulder injury. I definitely see he can be another guy that stretches out the field, and also he could be a red zone threat as well because he does have good speed and he can stretch the field as well. He's another big body box shoot out type of guy that can catch the ball with his hands. That's the good thing about these new tight ends that we got. They're wide receivers, but / tight end position, and they attack the ball. They don't wait the ball hit their chest. They go after the ball and they move forward.
I don't know how much we're going to see him. I think we'll see him out on blocking situations instead of Likely. Mm-hmm. But Josh Oliver's looked great this year. It's hard to take him off the field as a tight end 3. So it's like, I mean, maybe Kohler can get back and play a little bit. If we go goal line, he can come in. I like the idea of a red zone threat. But like Josh Oliver has shown us exactly why we trade a conditional 7th round pick for him, because he's making plays. Remember we talked about when he got traded over, we called him the weapon. Because he just catches any ball that's near him. And we're seeing him make catches, and they're reviewing it. They're like, man, did this hit the ground? And they're like, nope, he made that diving catch. Another diving catch for Josh Oliver. He can block well. I think Charlie Kohler is going to have his work cut out for him getting snaps. But if he does get snaps, that's going to say a lot. Because if he's getting snaps over the other tight ends, he's deserved it. He's earned it. They're not just going to throw him out there to throw him out there.
You know what? I don't know why they don't do this. Maybe because they gave Patrick Ricard the extension. But in certain plays that Patrick Ricard is out there, I do feel like a tight end should be out there. Maybe possibly a Nick Boyle or Josh Oliver, or if Charlie Kohler gets healthy enough, he should be out there as well. Because throwing it to your 300-pound fullback on 3rd and 9 and expecting him to jump or try to attack the ball, it's just crazy to me. So I would rather have a more athletic guy out there, just to, switch it up. Keep defenses on their toes and not always expect the run.
Huntley, Boyle in a second for Judy. The Broncos wouldn't want Huntley at all. Right. The Broncos just paid like $250 million to a quarterback. Huntley is not valuable in that trade package at all.
Anymore.
Let's see. I don't think wide receivers are undervalued at all. I think they're overvalued.
Their wide receivers are undervalued by the Baltimore Ravens organization,
That's true.
but they are overvalued everywhere else because now it is a 7-on-7 offensive league just with pads on. And we're being honest.
Hathim, what do you mean by did results come out yet?
Interesting.
So why are we trading Ronnie? Ronnie's looked great.
Oh, have y'all not realized the difference between Ronnie and Patrick McCart?
And Ronnie's not getting. We're not getting a first round pick for Ronnie.
Yeah, that's over.
He's too old.
No.
You know, if he was 24, you know, coming off of a first team All Pro, he's got to be 27.
Hold on.
28.
Yeah, 28.
28.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's up. And it was the same. If it was like the same age of Orlando Brown Jr., then yeah, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, exactly.
You could probably get a solid 3rd round pick for Ronnie.
But like, why trade him? Like, why would we trade Ronnie when we have a great left tackle in him? It's not like he wants out. If he requested a trade, yeah, I would trade him, but he's not requesting one. Oh, yeah, all the trades are done. They're all set. Ravens made one move.
Yeah, that's
pretty big one. It was yesterday, but yeah, it was just the Roquan Smith for the Ravens.
So if you had to go to wide receiver in the draft with our first round pick, you know what I mean? Now if we keep on winning, it likely may be in the late 20s.
I'm gonna pull up a big board just so I can see where people are expected. Mock draft here. Mock draft from Tankathon.
Mm-hmm.
Who do they got going? Right now, it actually has us drafting Kayshawn, I think Butte from LSU, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. Let's see here. He's ranked as the number 4 wide receiver right behind Jordan Addison.
It's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, 2021, he was really good. This year, he's kind of struggling, but LSU kind of sucks this year. So,
yeah, man.
It's kind of tough. Kind of tough. Oh, my gosh. They have Bijan Robinson falling to 27. There's no way Bijan Robinson goes to 27.
Do they got Raheem Jarrett or what's his name? Deontay Demas on there?
Whoa, what position?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver here. I'll pull up the wide receiver rankings. I see. Dante is 89th overall. So that's like 3rd, 4th round pick.
I don't know if you've been watching any Big Ten football, but them two is with Tua's little brother. They nice over at Maryland.
There's actually a 6'4" wide receiver that's the number 2 ranked in the draft, Quentin Johnson out of TCU. He's been a beast this year.
He has been working.
But then there's also a 6'5" guy out of Clemson, Brian Breesy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I'm not there. There was a 6'5" guy out of West Virginia or Wake Forest, A.T. Perry, 69th overall.
Yeah, I think that's where we got to start targeting like the later round guys because it's gonna be rough, and we want to use that first pick wisely now for sure.
Yeah, I think looking at the corners, I mean, I doubt Ringo falls to the Ravens. He's a monster out of Georgia. I've seen him play very well. Trying to look at also. Bijan Robinson's going top 10. I don't care. He's one of the best running back prospects ever. He's the closest running back in history to Barry Sanders. Like, he's going early. The benefit is we don't need to look at linebacker anymore.
That's a beautiful thing.
So now it's corner, wide receiver. Is that it? Is that what we're drafting in the first round? Is it corner or wide receiver? Because I feel like edge we're set. Like, I don't think we're going first round to edge.
I tell you what. if Ojabo shows promise, I feel like we're good for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, then we won't have to go edge. But I feel like we may mess around, go outside linebacker.
Yeah, we could go like linebacker, especially like third round pick.
Yeah,
like we could definitely go after some linebackers. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at the players around the Ravens and where they're expected. Yeah, Clark Phillips. I know Christian Gonzalez is a really solid corner out of Oregon. Clark Phillips out of Utah. I've seen stuff from him. He looks pretty good. Shout out to the quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker would be a sick draft pick for the. They have him going to the Seahawks. That'd be a really cool draft pick for the Seahawks. Shout out to them if they would get him. They got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafting quarterback in top 10.
It makes sense though.
I agree. I wouldn't want Tom Brady after this year.
Well, Tom is done. He needs to go, fix things at home.
That's true. Oh, they got the Packers taking Jordan Addison. Oh, if Rodgers got Jordan Addison, it'd be filthy. Mike Evans, I'm assuming is talking about Mike Evans.
Mike hasn't hit 30 yet.
Wait, I don't know. Someone brought up Mike Evans, and then someone said Mike is an old hat. I'm assuming you're talking about Mike Evans, but I don't think we're trading Patrick Queen because Patrick Queen is a good will linebacker. Like he's a really solid will linebacker, and we have 2 years left after this of him under contract. We're not trading Queen because we got Roquan. Queen's benefited by Roquan because we can play him and be confident in his abilities.
And you can give him a type of you can give him a Tyus Bowser type of contract extension, like 3 years, $24 million type situation.
Eb6, why would we trade Queen? Like, why would we get rid of a guy that's this year? At least he's showing a lot of flashes.
Yeah,
and he's younger than Adafe.
He's 22 or 23.
I think he's 22 or 23 years old. And Mike Evans is a great wide receiver. He'd be crazy good in Baltimore, but he also demands the ball. So,
yeah, 23.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to keep a young core. So I don't see us trading PQ. He works great in the will, like you said.
Yeah, and it's like, no, Queen's not in his last year. We drafted Queen in 2020. So it's like, and he was a first round pick, so we have a 5th-year option. Like we're gonna have him for a while.
He's locked in.
Indeed, I don't think we're drafting Bijan Robinson because he's going top 10. Like I fully believe he's a top 10 player in the draft. He's probably a top 5 player in this draft. I think Will Anderson's number 1, and then I would probably have Bijan Robinson as number 2.
Blake is not coming to Baltimore neither, Adit. I'm just being honest.
He's a Michigan player, so there's a chance now.
No. Blake is not coming back home.
Mama Harbaugh is a fan. So that's the end all be all.
Listen, I watched Blake in high school. I watch him do numbers on IMG. But he ain't coming back in Baltimore. And he's really from Virginia anyway. So there's that.
I would love to trade up for Jordan Addison. I've watched a lot of Jordan Addison, so I do know he is very good. I've watched a lot of Jackson Smith and Jigba. The problem with him is he's not the best receiver on his team. That makes it a little bit tough. Marvin Harrison Jr. is just unbelievable. So it's like,
if we don't go wide receiver this year, I can't wait for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna wait, it's gonna be for him. And then also it's like the other wide receiver. I have not watched. I can't speak as much on the TCU wide receiver. I gotta watch Quentin Johnston at a TCU. I've watched some TCU games, like a little bit. I watched him play Kansas. That was a really good game. Shout out to that game. That game was crazy. But I haven't watched it very much, so I can't speak on the wide receivers yet. I haven't watched much LSU. I watched them play Tennessee, and they got completely destroyed. So it's tough for me to say.
They play against Texas Tech, so I might lock in on this Saturday.
I'll be watching. I think Tennessee plays Georgia this week.
Sheesh.
And not only is that huge for just the teams, Tennessee has two really good young wide receivers that are ranked top 10 wide receivers in this upcoming draft. Georgia has the number 1 corner in the draft.
Nice.
Yo, so we get to see how those wide receivers can fare against, the best of the best. And then, figure out everything going on. LaShonda thinks she can get us mad. Shout out to LaShonda. I hope not. I'm fine. I'm completely okay with letting Peters walk. I've said this for a while. I'm not a huge fan of Marcus Peters. He's an improvement over the guys that we've had, but I'm okay with allowing. That's why I talk about, hey, we can draft a corner in the first round. That's what I wanted to do this year with Sauce Gardner. Because he was, when we first started talking about the draft, I was like, Sauce Gardner's ranked as the 30th overall player in this draft. I'm like, if the Ravens don't draft him at 14, they're completely stupid. He's the best corner in this draft.
Yeah.
And then media caught attention of Sauce Gardner, and they were like, oh, wait a minute, he's actually really good. And I'm like, darn it. Darn it, they figured it out. But, yeah, I mean, drafting a corner in the first round, I'm completely okay with. If we drafted a corner, they could be CB3 to start the year because we have a great secondary. I'm fine with having a rookie. Marlon Humphrey was able to come in and he was able to compete from day one. He was locking up players. Except we decided to put Brandon Carr on Antonio Brown in the fourth quarter against the Pittsburgh Steelers when they needed a touchdown and Brandon Carr got burnt for an 80-yarder. But Marlon was locking down AB that game. Until they didn't put him on there. Shout out to Classic. I don't know if Wink Martindale was the DC back then. Maybe it's DPs, but whoever made that mistake.
I feel like, if we don't bring back Peters, I definitely love the energy that he brings. He's one of those he's a ball hawking corner. But there's been a lot of times where he's always been looking for my help or, even since he's came back, it's been a lot of, DPIs on him. Because he's not as fast as he used to be, so he's still trying to work his way into to that mode of being that corner that he was. So if we do draft the corner, I feel like he has to be an immediate impact type of guy. He can't be a project baby. He can't be a project baby. We need an immediate impact, especially with the guys that we have in this defense.
Let's see. Hey, Tanya, how you doing? Joshua, is there any... Bill, oh no. LaShonda wants to start Huntley. I did tweet out, someone said if Lamar Jackson walks, then it's time to start Huntley. I said, no, it's time to start tanking for Arch Manning. If we lose Lamar, we're taking for Arch Manning. I don't care. Trade everyone. Bring in Arch.
Damn, we got to wait 3 years for Arch. Almost.
We do. But taking for him would be worth it. He's going to be so good.
Yeah, boy's going to be. I think he just broke the touchdown record at the school.
Of course he did. He's so talented, and it's unbelievable. And a lot of people are concerned, but he's only in high school. Yeah, but at the same time, he's crazy talented, and he gets to call up 4 Super Bowl champions at any point. And just be like, hey, just curious, what do you think about this? Peyton Manning, arguably the smartest quarterback of all time. Hey, you want to help me learn how to read defense? Peyton Manning goes, sure. Boom. He's ahead of the game. like that is just so beneficial for him to be able to do in high school and college, and he's already shown that his arm is unbelievable.
Don't move to the SEC next year too?
Ooh, Texas may be in the SEC next year. He will play in the SEC at some point in his career. I don't know if it'll be his freshman year, but definitely his sophomore year, I think.
Because if he's in if Texas is still in the Big 12, he's going to run through the Big 12. I'm sorry. He's going to run through the Big 12. But if he's in the SEC, he's going to get challenged every Saturday. But I feel like he's still going to come out on top.
Definitely. All right, Joshua, is there anything else you think we should cover?
Man, there's nothing else that we should cover, man. You know, other than my Lakers, they finally got a win. You know, Steve Nash got fired. So
the Nets are trying to hire Ime Udoka.
Oh, it's going to happen within 24 to 48 hours. It's locked in. and he's about to luck up, honestly. He's got Kyrie and KD, so I mean, hey.
Or he's gonna walk out of there and be like, "Oh my gosh, get me out of here."
We see Ben Simmons shoot, yeah, probably. But outside of that,
when he sees Ben Simmons shoot, that's funny. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming through. Always fun to do these streams, especially on big days. You know, draft days, trade deadline days, big news days. You know, thank you all so much for coming through. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. We'll be recording a podcast this week. We still have some segments from the last podcast recorded that are coming out talking about, you know, the Ravens have their swagger back as they likely. The Jerry Jeudy video we did not have time to put out, so hopefully the people that listen to the podcast, they were able to hear that segment. But thank you all so much for, you know, coming through, and we'll see all of you again next time.